Good afternoon. My name is Professor Rachel Hammond, and I will be teaching your Principles of Management course this semester. What I'd like to do in this video is orient you to the syllabus, either if you missed the first day of class or perhaps you need a refresher halfway through the semester about what was in that syllabus that maybe you haven't looked at in a while. So I'm going to give a little bit of information about what's important from a syllabus perspective for this class. First of all, when I think about this course in general, it's important to me for a couple of reasons. The first of all, this is one of our core classes here at Cornerstone in our business division. And so it gives you a really strong foundation, no matter what discipline you find yourself in, specialty in business, that to understand the key elements of what management is all about. Secondly, we spend a good portion of this class talking about the connection between faith and work, and we do some assignments around that and some reading. That's something that's important to me to help us understand as business students how our faith connects to our vocation as business people or whatever field we find ourselves in after you graduate. So that's an important thing for me. And as a professor, it's just as important for me to not only give you the knowledge and the confidence to be able to be competent professionals in your field, but that also I learn a lot every semester from you in my classes, and that's always great to hear your perspectives on what you're seeing in your work and your experiences. So before I actually go to the syllabus, I wanted to look at the textbooks for this course. The first one is our Management Fundamentals course by Lucier, and this is our book for the management portion of the course. So we talk about planning and organizing and controlling and leading and all those other things that go along with being a manager. That will be our key textbook. I will expect you to have read it before you come to class so that we can have good discussion. The other piece is our Faith and Work, and the main textbook for this is Timothy Keller, Every Good Endeavor. He does a really great job of talking about the sanctity of work and how it connects to God's mission and calling for us. So we will be reading that and doing some assignments around that textbook. We also have two books that are on reserve at the library. This one is Why Business Matters to God by Jeff Van Duzer, and that's on a 4-hour reserve at the library. You can check that out, and there you'll see in the syllabus where that's required to do so. And then lastly, we have a digital reserve for How the Church Fails Business People. So that will be one that you could read on your own from that electronic reserve. So right now I'm going to go over to the actual syllabus and give some information about what's there. So for our syllabus, there's a couple things that I'd like to point out as we go through this. The first is that I have my information at the top where my office is located and my office hours. I'm around early mornings and typically Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. So you can come by if you have questions, or you can give me a call at the following phone numbers. We already talked about the textbooks. When we go down to the course objectives, a couple things I wanted to point out. This first one is obviously about the key elements of management, that planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. And then our Faith and Work objective is articulating the connection between business and the redemptive story of creation. So we will be spending some time discussing that. I will also have you construct a personal framework for approaching future management-related responsibilities, and we'll talk about what that looks like a little bit later. And then you're also going to be developing your strategic thinking skills and your communication skills through this course. A couple of things on these pages, just as from an attendance standpoint, I am looking for no more than 3 absences. So if you do have sports related or pre-planned absences, I do need to know as soon as you know. So please let me know if there's going to be an issue with that. I appreciate technology. I enjoy technology as long as it's not a distraction to the classroom environment. So you can use those tools appropriately for class, but as long as they're not a distraction. We will talk more about some of the Cornerstone policies in class about what we are defining and what the school defines as cheating and plagiarizing. So just at this point, it's just, it is do your own work and without the assistance of other students in the class, unless I specifically say you can use resources from other classmates. If you do have a need for any services, we do have a learning center here on campus, and they can assess what perhaps would be helpful for you in the classroom, whether that's extended testing or note-taking services. So please visit the Learning Center to get more information about what's available for academic support. When we look at the assignments, a couple things I wanted to point out here. We will have 3 exams that will cover our classroom discussions, the management fundamentals text, and all of our faith and work textbooks. So everything that we talk about or it's in the textbooks is fair game for those exams. The management manifesto, that's the paper, the statement of how you are going to approach management in a future role. So that is going to be something that we will be working on throughout the semester with different assignments to kind of get you ready to write that paper, including a management interview. That will help. That's one of your sources. And then I also have you submit a reference list draft and an intro and an outline draft, just so I can see that you're on the right path. Like I mentioned earlier, there are some assignments related to the faith and work topic, including a pre and post essay that we'll discuss in class, kind of tracking where you were with your perspective on faith at work at the beginning of the semester and then at the end, and then journal entry assignment there. For our team presentations, this might vary a little bit depending on what section you're on, but you will have 2 presentations throughout the semester for your team to work on. And then we will have some other assignments. So you will need to keep up with your syllabus and keep track of when things are due. And we will always discuss these in more detail throughout the semester. Lastly, for in-class assignments, we will be doing case studies in class and discussion questions and team teaching assignments, and some of those will be graded assignments. So it is important for you to be in class and be an active participant so that you can continue to earn those in-class assignment points. For our course evaluation, you can see the breakdown of all the points. There's a total of 1,000 points that you can earn, and that's broken into the items that I just mentioned: the exams, the paper, faith at work, team presentations, and homework. So you can see what the breakdown is between each one of those elements. So for example, the management manifesto has the 100-point paper, but each element that I'm asking you to turn in has a point value to it as well. The grading scale is pretty typical. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention is the class schedule. This is what I will be following as we go throughout the semester. On the right-hand side, you'll see the reading assignments and the due dates, whatever is due that day. On the left-hand side, you'll see the topics that we will be covering on that particular day, or if there's an exam on that class day. And that goes throughout the whole semester. The last thing that I have in the syllabus is a couple of different rubrics for this course. So I have your group presentation rubric. So when you do a class presentation, this is what I will use to grade that. I also have in here the rubric for your paper that you will turn in later in the semester, and then the rubric for your faith and work journals. So those are all items that we will be covering also in class. So just to wrap up, I am excited about what we're going to learn together about how to work with people, how to understand yourself and how you manage yourself and others, and then how that can then work with those other people that may be very different from you, may be very similar, but how do you understand those processes to then achieve a goal? So I know all of you might not be thinking, oh, yes, I want to be a manager someday. Some of you do and some of you don't. But at some point in most of our careers, if not all of us, are going to have to manage someone, whether that's one other person, it might just be yourself that you have to manage. It could be a team, could be a family, it could be a ministry, it could be a church, it could be a sports team, it could be a musical group, any group of people that you need to move from point A to point B, that distance between takes the skill set that we will be introducing to you in this class to be able to create a vision, communicate it, and then move that goal or move people towards that goal through an effective organizational tools and controlling to make sure people are doing what they're supposed to do. So that's how we're going to be spending our time together, and I look forward to it.